Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has been in the custody of the Department of State Service (DSS) since June 29, 2021, following his kidnapped in Kenya and eventual repatriation to Nigeria. Upon his arrest, news emanated of how he was apprehended in the East Africa country, and it was reported that the 59-year-old separatist and political activist was actually kidnapped, blindfolded, and bundled into a waiting aircraft and flown to Nigeria. During his first few days in the DSS custody, Kanu narrated to his lawyer, Aloy Ejimakor, the entire event that culminated in his arrest and repatriation to Nigeria. He stated that the people who kidnapped him had no connections with the Kenyan government, but were merely hired by the Nigerian government to do the shady job of catching him and handing him over to the Nigerian authorities. He also stated that he was subjected to excruciating torture for 8 days, during which he was made to sit on the bare floor. He added that his captors later became gentle towards him after they had verified his identity and discovered that he was not the Al-Shabaab terrorist leader he was said to be. The Nigerian guys handling the kidnap shorthand told Kanu's captors that he was an Al-Shabaab terrorist leader so that they would show no mercy in dealing with him. Kenya has long been terrorized by this Al-Shabaab, a terrorist organization that mainly operates in East Africa, so it was easy for the sponsors of the abduction to convince some overzealous Kenyan mercenaries to apprehend Kanu and torture him ruthlessly before handing him over to them. For the record, this is not the first time that the Nigerian government would kidnap or attempt to kidnap a Nigerian citizen from a foreign country. Umaru Dikko's kidnap of 1984 clearly comes to mind. Over the past 3 years, Nnamdi Kanu has been in and out of court countless times in a bid to secure his freedom, but the Nigerian government has eventually refused to let him off the hook. The charges brought against him were merely treasonable, felony, terrorism, unlawful possession of firearms, and management of an unlawful society. And to sound the death knell to the legitimacy of Kanu's IPOB, the Buhari-led administration labeled the group a terrorist organization and proscribed it in 2017, setting the tone for its eventual ostracism and rejection by Nigerians and even Igbos for whom it was supposedly fighting. It does not come to many as a surprise that the Igbo elite and some indifferent Igbos outrightly rejected Kanu and his IPOB. The elites, particularly the politicians, felt that IPOB was established to attenuate their political grip on their constituencies and to undermine their efforts at forging an unbreakable enigma around their political enclaves, while the indifferent Igbos felt that the IPOB phenomenon only served to destabilize the Southeast, as it would be used as a vehicle to foment trouble and instill disorderliness in the once peaceful region. So Kanu struggled for his freedom alone and only enjoyed the sympathy of his IPOB members and some few insignificant persons from around the country. Even Senator Abaribe Enyinaya, who stood for him as Shorty when he was first granted bail in 2017, was not as vocal in calling for his release this time as he was then. We notice how the chain of lawyers who first represented Kanu in court after his arrest in 2021 gradually reduced to one or two for reasons that are not unconnected with the perceived hopelessness and complicity of this case. Before our every eyes, some persons who were also labeled separatists and troublemakers were completely exonerated, allowed to go scot-free. Repentant Boko Haram insurgents who easily pardoned and reintegrated into the society, despite the gravity of their crimes. But there was Kanu languishing in the coffins of the DSS detention facility, even though they haven't any crimes linked to his person. Kanu never bear arms, nor did he physically assault or harm anyone. There is still no clear evidence that the criminals who go about causing trouble in the southeast are doing so on Kanu's behest. Kanu only voiced out his dissatisfaction and disgust with the way Igbos are being treated in Nigeria, and then went on to call for the secession of the southeastern region from Nigeria. So, by words, actors should Kanu be labeled a criminal and treated like one. We have clergymen and women in Nigeria who have constantly incited rebellion and violence against Nigeria and Nigerians through their words and actions, but none of them has been invited for questioning, not to talk of having them jailed. Is that not glaring, the double standard that Kanu himself has often spoken against? It was very worrisome and heartbreaking when on the 29th of June 2021, Nigerians, particularly the Northerners, broke into joyful celebrations following the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu. On that day, it was as though the man who was responsible for Nigerians' woes and fallings and being apprehended, and that his capture would bring an end to all of Nigerians' troubles. Up to today, no one has been able to prove the rationale behind such meaningless celebration, as the arrest of Kanu did not in any way change the fortunes of Nigerians, nor did it bring an end to all the problems that have intricately bedeviled the Nigerian nation. Insecurity is still rift in Nigeria and is even worse in the northern region, who celebrated Kanu's apprehension the most. The people of the southwest, who also celebrated Kanu's capture, have since seen that their most disturbing problems had nothing to do with Kanu. If anything, the troubles of that region even escalated after Kanu's arrest. So what exactly was the celebration about? So guys, what's your take on this? Kindly drop your comments below the comment section, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you.